100 some people in the health insurance. If it goes up $10 a month or $20 a month, it's going to not be that noticeable. Again, I think we do have enough for all of next year and somewhat into the following.
Or someone in good point.
Ken, why don't you lead off?
Oh, on our recent meeting. Myself and Sue Renhill and Tim Pierce met with the CEO of the county to address an ongoing series of concerns that the retirement board, I think I could say here collectively, has had with respect to the progress or lack thereof of the health benefits subcommittee and its interface with the county. And I think one of the challenges in this is that you have two separate entities, the retirement system and the county of Mendocino, that have, in a sense, shared responsibility for the authorization and the management of the retiree health system. So we do have a shared partnership, and unfortunately that partnership hasn't been, I guess you could say, as good or as timely as I think it should be. And the inability of Tim to get responses from the HR department, because that would be the function, that is the function that manages the retiree health for the retirement system. And it's a rather cumbersome process. It's one that's had a number of difficulties with respect to the free flow of information, being able to get timely reports, and being able to get actuarial information from, basically through the county, because they pay the consultants, Mercer, back to this body so we can throw around ideas and try to take responsible action for the management of the retiree health system into the future. And as we know, costs are escalating, but getting data that we can work with in a timely manner. We had a subcommittee that met for over a year, was just about at the point of making some recommendations that then would have to then go to the Board of Supervisors after going past this body to make some changes in how retiree health would be managed for the future. And that never came to be. Different factors sort of entered the discussion. No final decision was made, and so things have sat there. And again, back to the more recent discussions of trying to get data that we could again revisit those concerns. And I think they're warranted given the conclusion of the fiscal year 07-08, and that we are in a deficit mode with respect to what has been allocated for retiree health care and what it's actually costing to cover it. So we had a meeting with the CEO, wanting to figure out a better working relationship with HR, and since the HR director reports directly to the CEO, we thought that was the most advantageous way to approach it. So we had a good discussion, and a number of issues were raised, and we proposed that we would be having a more lengthy meeting with more folks at the table, the actual folks from HR, probably the HR director, some of the executive office staff. Tim would be back then from vacation. We would plan for a longer meeting, and I don't know that we have a date set for that yet, but we'd have a longer meeting where we could actually get to some of the nuts and bolts of the issues and really define who's responsible for what, where the information flow is, can we work directly with the actuaries and the consultants to get the data that we need, and so forth, and get some of these issues cleared up. So that was the point of the meeting. We'll be planning to do that. I would assume now it will probably be August that we will be having that meeting. But during that meeting, we did touch upon some of the concerns that have been raised and some of the ideas that we wanted to get out, because any changes to the retiree health system would require a 90-day notification of members. And Sue raised a number of, I think, important points during that meeting, and we talked about where we might want to go for the short term, given that a lengthy discussion and a lengthy evaluation of data, if we truly are back to square one, so to speak, with trying to make this analysis, work with our partners, HR, and this board, then the decision-making board, the Board of Supervisors ultimately, and have all of that wrapped up for an October 1 date was drawing close. So we talked about what might be some interim steps that we could do to focus on the fiscal solvency of the retirement system and making sure that it is going to be in play for the long run and be the best benefit possible for retirees. And so we carry forth with some ideas, and maybe one of you would like to talk about what we kind of threw out, or some of a suggestion that would be possible, an interim suggestion, something that is not new. It's not a new concept by any means. It's been heard by this board before. It's been talked about in our Health Benefits Committee historically, which dated back to, I think, 05, 06, somewhere in there. But we just need to take some step to try to go forward to some small degree of capping of cost. And where could we go with that as an interim step before we really do and can agree to what data is going to be used to look at a long-term solution?
Well, before I begin, I want to apologize to the audience. But my suggestion was, and this is not my suggestion, this is a suggestion that's been coming up for many years. But my easy first solution was, I believe with all my heart that those individuals under 65 need to start sharing in the cost. I think that's the first step to stopping some more of the bleeding that's happening. Right now, that would produce about 48% of the retirees are under 65. Those persons over 65 are currently paying, I think, $110 or $120 per month for their Part B Medicare, which we require to help cover the level.
It's over 130.
Yeah. But those individuals, and the new employee, the employees are now paying, we're paying, I think it's around $200 a month. My suggestion is that the retirees under 65 start with maybe a minimum $100 per month, which would be less than the Medicare, but it would more equalize everything and help generate some income for the short term.
We had a little different approach to that I tried to get information out of the actuary some time ago, and part of the problem with our relationship with HR, and I don't know if in this committee if county council was there and established who has the right to ask questions from the actuary and that kind of thing.
She wasn't there to answer your question, Tim, but that was part of what would be this next meeting.
Okay. Because it was I think a little consensus from the committee is, let's at least find out what it would cost to take an approach that's been looked at for many, many years, and that is the people that are under 65, rather than just establishing the dollar amount that we're charging, let's continue to have them in the same plan that they're in when they're employed. The same deductibles, the same maximum out-of-pocket cost, and the same sharing of those costs between the county, 75, 25, 75 being borne by the county and 25 by the retiree.